This show will begin briefly. I thank everybody for tuning in. Welcome back to another episode of Smitty's Corner, aka Lighthouse _ 301. Let's go ahead and get to it.
Now it's time for us to tap in, third eye open like the river. I be running, thoughts glowing, popping up with idea. Yes, yes, you can tell a friend that I'm Smitty. I'm the Mr. 007. I'm not here to preach the gospel, but I goes in like the reverend. Shoes off when I walk in and keep it chillin' peaceful. I'm the neurotoxins fighting off the disease. Cool and collected, well respected. Save the drama for your mama. Speak your mind, hit the lip, make you chew. Every person in the building, come up and tell me what you think. I retired from the streets, now pushing content and chill beats. Gotta keep your head up even when you feel defeats.
Welcome to the lighthouse. Storm all around. I'm standing right now, sand from the cloud. They talking mighty now, but I'm just fighting for my blood. That's my life vow, yeah. Sent from the heavens, king on sevens, trials on trial, still count blessings. Waiting on the revelating, heart been heavy. I stay patient, I am beyond the angels, I am man, I bleed. Untangled, sword on my back, axe on the strap. Walk with the weight of the world in my lap. Touching my kid, we doubling back. Play with my palm, but I'm ready for that. Ready for that. Lone Star County kids, that's greatness. Stand tall. Old County on the way. I just want my egg. You can keep your brand. Build this from the ground. For my whole family. PG is greatness. DMV ain't faking. If I said I'm the one, welcome to the lighthouse. This foundation. Still waiting on revelation. Tit in the rotation. Hurt on my chest, but I'm chasing. Turn my scars into statements. I don't need your stage or cameras. I need these papers, landing hammers. Still on my spine, still in my hands. Guarding my bloodline. Holding this land like a test. They can try, they can hate me. I've been forged in fire, that's what made me. PG rays, don't star in my veins. DMV on the map, say the name. Lone Star County king, that's greatness. Stand tall. Old County on the way. I just want my acres. You can keep your branding. Build this from the ground. For my whole family. PG is greatness. DMV ain't faking. If I said I'm the one, no, I wasn't mistaken. Lone Star County kings, yeah, we blazing. Welcome to the lighthouse. This foundation.
I will be with you in one moment. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and get ready to get this bad boy started.
Behold the pale white horse and in the dark night rider. Elevation, meditation, angels floating right beside you. The Messiah passed away at 33 like the degrees in Freemason alchemist. Cooking chemistry, I rose from the ocean sparkling. Water magic potion. Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Do you hear what I hear? Demons lurking but it's no fear protection. Vision clear, the birth of the baby with powers in his tears. And if you vultures really want me, then I'm still right here. As I land in spacecraft, water walking warlock, jet propelled aircraft, Operation Star Fox. I remember sitting with my thoughts with the CD while we hotbox, smoking on some crunchy 37, call it pop rocks. We still here and won't stop until I'm at the top or until my body drops. I'm ghost.
Let's go ahead and get this bad boy going. Let's get it kicked off. Let me get my mic turned up. Hold on 1 second. Mic check 1 2. Let me go ahead, get these headphones turned up. Get the headphones turned up. Okay, now. Much respect to the family, respect, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in to another episode of Smitty's Corner, aka Lighthouse underscore 301. What you all need to do at this very moment is give yourself a big round of applause. That's right. Because you're here. You can be anywhere else in the world, but you chose to go ahead and rock out with your boy for a bit. So I want to talk about something, right? Y'all know me. Like, people like to complain about things. And I've noticed that we have this huge fascination with wanting to just simply complain about some shit. So what we're going to do is, I have some clips. All right. We back in motion now. So I got some clips for us and everything. And I really want to know this question, like, from my people and from anybody else, even outside of this, right? Like, should Black people fear the police? Should I, like, me as a Black man, should I actually be scared of the police? You know what else I wonder? Does the police treat us in a manner in which they do at times because they fear us? Do the police fear Black men or Black people? Some of our sisters can be vicious at times when they want to. I'm just saying, come from a warrior class. So let's go ahead and let's pull this up. All right. So I got everything lined up and queued up for us. Right. So let me go ahead. Let me hit my tune. There we go. Yeah, not too loud. There we go. Nice and smooth for us for this Sunday evening. I pray that everything's going good with you. Before we get started, I would like to ask you this question. How's your day? How's your headspace? And how has this day been treating you? Like, really, just in case nobody else asked you, right? So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's look at, how do we see, when it comes to police brutality, our visions on it, the whole nine? If you're somebody on the outside of the Black community, what is your view on how this operates? All thoughts are welcomed, just so long as they're respectful. Let's go ahead and kick it off. See what we got. All right, so let's start off with this first one. So the first video that I have lined and queued up is this right here. 1 second. Just give me 1 second. I just wanted to turn that down. Just in that. There we go. See, I learned about this goddamn music thing. There we go. Put it right at it. Boom. Yeah, that's perfect. There we go. There we go now. Just to make sure that we don't get muffled and you can hear me. Should we actually fear the police? This is something that I've been wondering. And I also wonder, does the police fear us? Do you ever wonder that? I have. I've asked myself that question. Like, are y'all acting the way that y'all acting towards us because really you're scared? Because there's an old saying that goes that the coward pulls the trigger first. But let's go ahead and rock out. I digress. My mic is muted. I thank you all for tuning in. Let's go ahead and get it right here. See what we got. Bow. Let's do it.
We need to keep kids safe online, but some special interests are setting policy.
Y'all don't care nothing about these damn kids nowadays, okay? I wish we did, but we don't. But anyway, let's go.
You say you fear retaliation not from a criminal, but from the police.
Most people don't have the interaction with police that you, and I say you or I, might have as African-American males. We've just talked about it. If I'm doing everything the police officer says, if I'm being compliant and I'm still shot, I'm still tasered, I'm still batoned, most people don't have that fear or that worry or that concern. So it's very easy for that person to support the police. And it's very easy for me to understand why that person won't understand my concerns as a Black, because I'm still a Black male. Don't get it twisted. I'm a police officer, but I was born a Black male. I'm going to die a Black male. I wasn't born a police officer. And if I have my way, I won't die a police officer. So yeah, I mean, it's a real concern. And again, when I drive, I've got friends and family that don't drive at night. We're having a conversation. I've got family in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. They don't drive at night. Why? They're not worried about thugs. They're not necessarily worried about the KKK or these neo-Nazi groups. They're worried about what's going to happen if I get stopped on I-49 or I-20 at midnight by some rogue police officer and I'm out there by myself. And that is a real concern for African-American people. You know it's the case.
All right, but wait a minute though. Because see, this is my thing. Why is that a concern? Why? What's the reason that's a concern? Somebody tell me. Can you tell me what's the reason that's a concern? Is it possible that just maybe, that's all because a lot of us have been pumped fear into our minds, whether it's from the news itself, because the news does that, or whether it's from actual people who, let's see, it's from people that just actually don't know how to conduct themselves when in the line of fire when it comes to being around police. Yo, you know, the one thing that I always, and you know something that's crazy, I didn't learn this from my parents, right? So like how to conduct myself around police, I learned that from older street cats. I learned that from the OG hustlers. I mean, real life, like they do that. They hustle, right? I learned that from them. I'm riding in the car with them as the young blood at the time. They'll take me on a run with them here and there. And I'm talking about, yeah, I'm like 16, 17 years old. I'm still a minor. They grown as shit with families and a house and everything. They taking me on runs with them. I remember those days. I come from that, right? And I remember like we'll get pulled over. It's just little shit. They just get you hip on how to move. I remember when I was coming up back in my days, man, like we wouldn't even be doing all of that extra big wild geeking and pressing and why are you pulling me over? That's the last thing we about to do. First of all, we know we dirty. God damn. If anything, we think that they know we dirty. You know what I'm saying? So like, all right, bet. We get pulled over. And the first thing I do is I hit one of these, right? I try to turn around and look. Man, he kind of punched my leg. He kind of punched like down lower, like towards my thigh. So it ain't up, so you don't see. So he kind of punched my leg and he was looking in the rear view. He said, "Bah." I said, "Ah, goddamn." He said, "Nigga, don't you look back. Don't turn around. Don't turn around. Hey, put that shit down. Put that shit down. Sit still, bro." When they come up to, as the officer's walking up to the car, you know what he's saying to me? Don't say shit. Don't say nothing. I got this. Just let me handle it. Now, it's been some times where, you know, yeah, I mean, we still got pulled out the car and somebody went to jail. That has happened. But the fact is that we didn't like escalate things, right? So let's go ahead and let's keep on listening because that's the factor that I believe a lot of us just don't even seem to get nowadays. But let's rock out.
I know it's the case. And so to say that people don't fear the police, I mean, I see people telling kids all them, hey, there's a police officer. I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna take you to jail. That's not right. But that's a historic fear that we have of police.
So basically what you're saying is these black people are living in the state of terrorism.
I would say yes. I mean, they fear that no matter what they do, they can potentially be victimized by a police officer that's
Now, this is the thing that baffles me about my people, right? So let me just go ahead and put it to you like this. All right, so the thing that really kills me is that we will continuously, decade after decade, okay? Decade after decade, we will complain about how the police treat us. Then why don't we get more of our own into the police force? We don't like how the police treat us. Why don't we train our children to go ahead and go into law enforcement so that they can go ahead and make it better? If we want policing to be better, we need to get our own people in there. So that way we don't have to say these racist ass white cops and so on and so forth. You know, one thing I've noticed, have y'all not noticed how there's a huge, like it was just a spring jump of all of these like Spanish cops? You know why? They're smart enough to know, still infiltrate and get into whatever it is that is the body work of what oppresses us. What we should do is we should get into a position where We can be a virus, we can be the cancer, if you want to say, or we can be the healing factor to this corrupted system. So if the system is corrupted, we can get inside of the body of that system and become the antibodies to fight off the disease. Or we can just become a whole nother disease and eradicate the whole thing and rebuild everything from anew. Sometimes you have to tear all the way down in order to get things to rise back up. That's just how that works, right? Let's go ahead and see what we got. Much respect to the family.
Taking rogue action, or that's not protecting and serving them.
If you want to see the full interview with Captain Vance Keys.
All right. So that's that video right there. All right. So now we're going to go back. So I got this other video queued up. Let's go ahead and get to it. Bow. Now, let's listen to what this sister says in regards to, are black people actually afraid? I mean, are cops?
Do you know how much your transfer credits could?
Are cops actually afraid of black people? Let's see what we got. Are cops afraid of black people?
Say race.
Civil rights attorney Connie Rice joins us. She filed lawsuits against the Los Angeles Police Department back in the 1990s during the O.J. Simpson and Rodney King era. Thanks so much for being with us. Really appreciate it. You interviewed hundreds.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
You interviewed hundreds of police officers, and they were very, very honest with you over time. They talked about their feelings towards African-American men. What did they tell you?
Fascinating. It was very fascinating for me to hear, because once I got their trust and they realized that Chief Bratton, the chief of LAPD at the time, wanted me to find out what were his cops thinking. And so I just made up a list of very provocative questions, and I asked them, I said, what is it that makes you afraid? And they actually decided to talk to me. I don't know why, but they did. And they would say, Miss Rice, can I be honest with you? I'm afraid of black people. I never grew up around black people. I don't understand them. They scare me. Or, Miss Rice, I'm scared of black men. And I was stunned.
Hold on.
They were being honest.
So wait a minute. Okay, so you're telling me that within these communities, all right, so that's the problem. We get officers that come into communities and come into circumstances that they're not familiar with. They don't know how like the typical black house could be. Sir, we think you're violent because maybe he's just raising his voice, and whole T, he probably, he ain't hurt nobody. That's just how that nigga talk. That's just how bruh expresses himself. And we would take that as that's actually violent. It's like, have you ever seen us at a cookout during a spades game and dominoes? Like when we playing bones, like, come on now. Let's go ahead and get back to it. Let's see what we got. So I do get what she's coming from on that. They need to stop bringing in officers who's not familiar with the community. You know what's best for us, I believe, possibly, is for us to have police officers that come from where we come from. Yep. That come from where we come from. That generally works out a little bit better. Although the fact is that once you choose that side of law enforcement, like some folks is just going to look at you as you not one of us no more. Like we know how that go, right? But we can change the narrative if more of us actually got into law enforcement. I do believe in that shit. Let's go.
From there, once you understand the fears, you can address them and get them to dial it down so that there isn't a hair trigger response when they see a black man and they misinterpret every move that he's making as a threat.
So you didn't, when they were sort of coming clean and really bearing their...
You know something? And I remember this, man. I remember my pops telling me this story, man. God bless him. Absolutely. Live in paradise. I remember Pops was telling me one day this story because, I was asking him about why you wear shades all the time, right? So I'm asking Pops, like, why you always got on shades? And he go ahead and he says to me, he's like, because the sun be in my eyes. And he said also, you know why? He said, because that way, if I got to squint at the sun, white folks won't think I'm angry. He said, we just be squinting at the sun. They think you mean mugging. Nah, it's just the sun's in my eyes. I'm trying to see. So it's like I've definitely peeped how, yes, just the smallest of gestures can be taken as a threatening manner. Heck, that's something that happens in nature. Believe it or not, eye contact and showing of teeth is a threat to primates. So when you're around chimps, gorillas, direct eye contact and you smile, hey, nah, you just you said let's fight. You said let's fight. You see what I'm saying? So that's also somewhat of a naturistic aspect. But let's go ahead and get back to it.
Their souls. You also, in the course of this, didn't necessarily believe that these officers as individuals were necessarily racist, did you?
Well, when you say racist, did I think that they were Klansmen in a police officer's uniform? No. I think that what we have to do in the United States is understand everybody has inside of them racialized thinking, racial fears. We all have those fears. I mean, keep in mind that Black cops also make negative associations and threat associations when they're presented with Black images. So it's across the board. The two of you probably understand this because you see it in media all the time. It is across the board. So what we need to do is step back.
Now, this is the question that I would ask. I would still propose this question because I'm curious about these things. What exactly are we doing? Is there something that we're doing to have them look at us in such a manner? Like what exactly do we do to come off threatening? Should we learn how to tone it down? Should we learn how to like not be as aggressive? Is that something we should, or should they just learn us? And if you're going to deal with us, then you just need to know that I got this attitude bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that what it is? Like, how should we look at this and go about it? You smell me now? Because they're trying to, because sis is saying the police treat us the way that they do because they're scared of us. And I was raised on the concept of the coward does pull the trigger first. Whoever's scared is going to shoot first because they don't want to die. So what is this? Let's go ahead and keep on listening. Then we're going to get to this next aspect of should Black people be afraid of the police? Like, should we actually be like fear this? Let's go.
Stop the finger pointing and say, look, we've all got this stuff inside of us because it's been drummed into us. Now, how do we neutralize it? How do we get beyond it? How do we make sure that it doesn't cause us to pull a trigger or beat somebody up?
Simple. Once again, shout out to my pops. It's crazy how everything he told me is just like it's all flooding in. You know what he told me? My father always told me, he said, you know how you disarm the police? And I'll never forget the little joke I cracked in the car. I said, what, take their gun? He's like, no, you'll just get shot even worse. And you'll get more charges. So hopefully you don't live through the being shot because now you got to be in prison with bullets in you. He said, no, what you do is you obey the law. Believe it or not, in this day and age, maybe once upon a time when our rights were being violated, okay. But he said, you obey the law. If you obey the law, 9 times out of 10, you should be okay. And if they do violate you, guess what? You got all full-fledged right and you have an awesome case on your hands to go ahead and take their ass for everything they got. And when you get that money, because you will win a suit, you need to go ahead and take over the police force. You need to make sure that whatever laws have been put in place that they can do that, you need to be the founder in the face of those who are going to make sure it doesn't happen again. You smell me now? Or at least reduce the chances. Let's go ahead and rock out.
Or have a negative consequence.
So, first of all, yeah, I think it's indisputable. We all come at every situation with our own internal biases and feelings. I think probably we need to be careful saying that every cop is scared of every Black person. I know that's not what you're saying here.
That's true.
The question is, if these feelings do exist in these...
Whoa, what is she saying? She said that's true. No, but wait, see, this is, and you know what makes it so real iffy? Well, what makes it tricky? should I say? There we go. Let me switch my vocabulary. What makes it tricky is we have a lot of black cops, but I don't know. What do you guys say? Are those black cops the ones who really are just coons and Uncle Toms or whatever these dumbass terms that we like to use for our own and stuff like that? Is that what it is? You let me know. Just let me know. Your thoughts matter. Let's go.
Feelings cause dangerous situations. How do you deal with it? What do? You said there needs to be these discussions. What can you implement to change things?
Yes, it starts with the discussion and the confession. I had black cops confess to me that they were afraid of Latinos. I had Asian cops confess that they were afraid of black people and Latinos. So we have an intertribal problem here.
Where does that stem from? Because you see, this is why I say we have to remember, although they do have on a uniform, they're still human. Like when they take off that uniform, regardless of the training, they have a certain upbringing and head process and thought mindset that they, just came up with. I bet. So now that we know that that's exactly how they think, what is the reason behind that? And how would we fix it? Should we only have Asian and maybe white cops in Chinatown? When you go to the hood, should it only be black cops? Like if you want to work in certain places of Chicago, DC, Cali, Atlanta, Florida, you name it, you gotta go ahead and have a certain qualification, which is your skin tone, and they need to look up your background of how much of the hood do you know about. Should it be that way? Because something has to give. I'm just throwing some thoughts out into the atmosphere, maybe something to hit in the ether within your mind. Let's go ahead and rock out.
And I think that what we need to do is simply acknowledge that reality. And the next step is to sit down and figure out the training protocols for how you expose each tribe to the other. And you get them to tamp down the fears because there's a constant exposure. And you want to know something? Once these white cops that I was dealing with, I would take them into Watts. I would introduce them to Mrs. Day and Mrs. Tolliver, and I would get them around the older black guys who had been members of gangs. And we started having breakfast together and lunch together. And pretty soon, they were on a first name basis, and they felt like they knew one another. Once they felt like they knew one another, guess what? The confrontations dialed way, way, way down.
That's one of the ideas behind community policing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, maybe if you'll allow us, Connie, it would be great if we could have you come back and talk with us about.
So, okay. Now that's that video there. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat and bones of it. Like, what is the reason as to why, you know what I'm saying, black folks do be scared of police? Like, I mean, I don't know, because look, I'm going to take out my personal experiences briefly, right? So my personal experiences have been, I have always been just fine with police. And I'm talking about, I'm on the streets doing big dirt. But you want to know why I was able to be, you know what I'm saying, cordial with shit? Because I recognize they had a power over me that I don't possess. They have the capability to just shut down everything I got going on. And when you're talking about trying to get your shit back when it comes to the law, that's going to be something that's always going to be a big, big hassle. You'd be surprised what it's like just trying to get your car and your cell phone back, depending on what the circumstance is. So, I mean, when you just recognize that, look, I don't even want no smoke. I'm just going to stay out your way. You stay out my way. And that's how we do that, right? And so it was kind of like one of those things where police almost knew, like, you know, we know that you do this. Not even almost, they do. It's like, we know that you do this. We know that you do that, but you stay out the way. You see what I'm saying? So when you know how to stay out the way, that really does help a lot of how it's viewed and what your results generally can be. Stay out the way as best you can. All right. But if you want to ask my honest opinion on what should you do in the first place, live legit and legal. I'm only saying this because we're adults and people are going to do what they're going to do. So I'm going to at least try my best to give you the best, should I say, examples of how to go about it. People are going to do what they're going to do. But hey, they say that, you know what I'm saying? Black men are feared. Cops fear black men. So let's go ahead. Let's get to this next one right here. And shout out to the family, man. Shout out to the family. So on this video right here,
Abolishing of police.
on this one right here, this is going to be a nice, good panel. This right here is the meat and bones of it. Let's go ahead and we're going to look at this right here. So this is a group of all of us black folks, you know what I'm saying? And we have, I don't know, Mr. O'Shea McDonald up here. Okay, Mr. O'Shea McDonald. And we're going to listen to if we should actually fear police. So I found this live to be very interesting. So we got a nice little 45-minute clip of it, of the meat and bones of it. So let's go ahead and rock out. The time right now is 6:26 p.m. East Coast Standard Time. And I thank you all so much for taking a moment just to tune in. Let's rock out.
What's happening in our world right now, the current feeling in the world right now, specifically in the area of police brutality and minorities, specifically black and brown people. And in the last month now, we've had the deaths of George Floyd and Rayshard Brooks, both at the hands of police. Both stories completely unique in and of themselves. Both stories and both moments in time captured on video. Both problematic on multiple levels. The end results were still the same: police taking the lives of black men. And many have tried to use the term. It's not a white thing or white versus black, but it's a everybody versus the police, which is problematic as a statement on its own. There have been it's everybody versus racism, which really should be the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I mean,
yeah.
I think we can all agree that everybody should be against racism, right?
Yeah.
But the idea of my question for you guys is, right now in Atlanta, just read this online right now. Both police officers who were involved in the shooting and the death of Mr. Brooks have turned themselves in. At the same time, in certain sections of Atlanta, Georgia, police officers aren't responding to calls. I was saying earlier that what Atlanta should do is say, okay, well, then we're not going to do any crimes.
Well, we also have to remember that there are, goodness gracious, man, like even when it comes to the dispatch, man, do y'all hear how the dispatch, you got dispatch that like literally have caused people to lose their lives on some real Let's go ahead and keep on rocking out. With that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. The time right now is 6:28 p.m. East Coast Standard Time on this beautiful Sunday.
And kind of be like, if you're not gonna call them, we're just gonna behave for 24 hours, right? Okay, like we don't need you. But like that's, and right now there's been contention between black people, brown people, and police for as long as I've been alive, and longer than that. In light of this
now, this is what I want to know. This ain't, don't get it twisted. It really is just a question I want to know from you guys. So when we say F the police, right? Remember that? Back in the day, NWA, fight the power. What was the power? The power was the government. Of course, that's what we're talking about. When we were doing all of this, do you think they said, okay, since that's how y'all want to roll? Because you know what I've noticed from, let's say, if you go to cartel to mafia, they recognize the concept of sharing is caring. And not even just that, when you have the law in your back pocket, you got the streets at your disposal. The one thing that I've noticed that we really, I'm not going to say we've never done it, But the one thing that, like, say, like, because we have gangs, then you have like Italian, okay, mob, mafia, then you got like Latino, that would be like what, cartel. What I know about the mob and the cartel is that they are real big on making sure they put that bread. They don't have just lawyers on retainer. They have judges and whole sheriffs and whole police departments on retainer. That is something that you can do. I'm not saying go do the wrong thing, but if you're going to do the wrong thing, do it the right way. Yes, there is a right way to do the wrong thing, believe it or not. You smell me now? So this is how I have been. What? Okay. I'm gonna call you. I got you. So this is how I've seen all of that, right? But let's go ahead and keep on listening because I want to hear what these brothers have to say. Let's get back to the conversation. Let's just let it play for a minute.
Conversation about defunding, demilitarizing, reforming, and the idea of abolishing as a topic. That's not a topic that we are condoning. You have not heard that on the show, but as a topic that's out there. How do we start bringing improvements between people of color, people who have been marginalized by the police and police? And let me say this to you before I turn over the question to Tim. One of the things I've heard a lot of people say, and guys, you've probably heard this too, is I know really good, godly police officers. Right. We probably all heard that. I know really good godly police officers. What does that mean exactly? I don't know. And Bart's statement of I don't know what that means. Today I rewatched the death of the murder of George Floyd. I was on Twitter and I watched as a police officer. This time I wasn't paying attention to the police officer, Officer Chauvin on Mr. Floyd's neck. I was paying attention to the police officer who was standing and blocking him from the crowd. And I was thinking to myself, what's more important, loyalty to your uniform or doing the right thing? What's more important? Standing up for what's right and saying, dude, you've done too much, knowing that you're going to lose friends, you're going to
But see, that's what I'm talking about. The optics in which how we look at things. When you're talking about people who are disconnected from you and everything about you, you really expect for them to have that same type of headspace. You know what it's like? It's like the step parent that goes too far beating the stepchild. Like, say, like they had permission to give a spanking. There have been a lot of reports, an abundance of reports about these step parents that will go too far. Right? All right, bet. So it's the same thing with the police. When you're not the actual parent, you will have a different type of, you don't know, an off switch sometimes, as opposed to that actual parent. People who are disconnected from who it is that you are, they don't have no off switch on how they treat you, is my point. I just want us to focus on that part. Let's go ahead and push play. The time right now is 6:33 p.m. East Coast Standard Time on this beautiful Sunday at 54 degrees. Let's go.
You might lose your job because people don't respect you, or covering it up and being a part of this contingent who are then going to say, we're going to go on strike for this, we're going to get angry because of this, and then have this idea of this blue live sort of thing. This idea of how we bridge the gap between people who have been marginalized and the police is a real thing, because on one hand, there are people who are good, but sometimes those people who are good stand in the way of dealing with the people who have done really, 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 really bad things.
No, they're outnumbered. You know, you do have a lot of folks that are or have been in that position when it comes to, they actually want to stand up, but what really can they do? They can put their voice out there, but will they be silenced? A lot of people are like, you know what? Look, I'm just here for the job. I'm here for the benefits. I'm here for what it is that this job entails as far as like what I can receive from it. That's primarily why people go into it. Now you have a lot of folks that's like, I just want to protect the neighborhood and I don't care about the paycheck. That's why I know I don't get paid that much, but I still do what I do. You smell me now? Respect to the family.
Adam, then Tim.
Yeah, I just want to respond really quickly and then yield it to Tim. I think, Chris, the problem, and we'll get to this in terms of where we can see changes begin, but the problem is intrinsically the training of the police, in which those other cops actually think that they're doing the right thing. I was reading a whole bunch of stuff on this, but one of the things that I read that absolutely baffled me and blew my mind was there's a police in somewhere in California who was saying that there was multiple training officers that told him, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And so what that means is essentially I'd rather be judged by a jury of 12 people on my actions than be caught out dead in the streets, be carried by,
Oh, wait a minute. You're absolutely correct. But where'd he get it from? That comes from the streets. We say the exact same thing on the opposite side of the fence. Is that any different? I'm just curious. Is it any different? I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. That's in rap songs. What are you talking about? Let's go.
Be carried by whoever it is, in a casket away. And the thing is that from the day that these people enroll into policing, fundamentally they are taught that the covering of people, of the boys in blue, is actually the right thing. It's not just this is what we do. This is your morality now. So Tim, I'm going to yield it to you, but I think we have to understand the mindset of police officers. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit later, but we have to come at it from both sides.
It's looking at it, the first thing that comes into mind is the idea of change. When we're thinking of change, it's something that really, I'm going to throw out some $2 words here. There are two types of change. There is technical change and there is adaptive change. Technical change is like changing the tires on your car, which is one of those things that you look at and go, oh yeah, that's pretty easy. Adaptive change is changing how you drive. And the struggle with the relationship between people of color and the police, and I know it's definitely something that we've all experienced within the Black community itself, is that even if we defund the police, even if we demilitarize, it's one of those things that when we look at it as a whole from the get-go,
why would we want to do that in the first place? Why would we want to demilitarize and decentralize like what it is that is supposed to be of protection? What I do believe that we need to do is stop trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay. What we need to do is just have, I guess, what they would call the total reform, but I wouldn't even call it reform. I would call it extreme renovation. Like just renovate the entire thing. And keep what's beneficial, keep what is of solid, right, when it comes to the law and justice, but simultaneously just go ahead and just revise the whole thing. Let's keep on rocking out.
The community itself has never trusted the police. Mm-hmm. And that's so it's one of those things that if there is to be any change, there needs to be the adaptive change, which is the harder change. Of working to be able to build that trust between communities of color, particularly in this situation, Black people and the police, to be able to look and interact with someone that is a carrier or is enforcing the law and trusting that they themselves are working for the betterment of society in which I am an equal and an important member of.
Right. Okay. So we got that part. All right. Cool beans. All right. So when you're talking about go ahead and just be an equal part of society, being an equal part of society has nothing to do with how we interact with officers when we when we come across them, when we have traffic stops, when we have whatever kind of stop, and you have to engage with the police. The main factor is that most of us just don't know what to do, and that's the part that's like the most dimming.
And it's something that when we look at it, if all we're ever going to do is change the tires on how we enforce the police, we are going to be running through tires incredibly quickly all the time.
It's good.
And
where are my manners? Fair use, fair use, fair use. Let's go.
It's something that, at the end of the day, I would say for us as a Western society, it requires some level of change to build the trust for us to be able to understand, okay, they're driving differently now. And so I can trust them behind the steering wheel of the law.
Yeah. I don't think, honestly, my own personal opinion is, I don't think we're ever going to be able to reconcile police relationships with the public.
Yep.
As Tim said, there's been mistrust for way too long. Gary Potter of Eastern Kentucky University does a detailed write-up in Time magazine, actually featured him a few years ago. But he talks about how in 1704 that the police system that we know began in the South. It went from taking care of policing slaves to actually becoming an institution that still continued to pester and pester the people and enforce segregation, even though things were beginning to change.
I see where this is going. Okay, let's go ahead, keep on rocking.
In the same article, it talks about in 1838 that the first policing in the North began in Boston. And it was really more, when I read it, it kind of looks like a special constable or a armed security guard.
Yes, just like how gangs, we all know that, although it has nothing to do with that now, but like gangs, even the Black Panthers started off as like, for the most part, like the law for us. Like, we will police ourselves. I don't know how many of us still agree with that. I don't know how many of us still agree that we should police ourselves. I am for it. I don't know how you look at it though, but let's go ahead and keep on rocking out.
To protect the merchants from being robbed, just to enforce some of the things that they needed to there. But we understand that just when you look at those numbers, that's hundreds of years now, even more than that, where there are just issue after issue after issue after issue and so much distrust. When I think about my own personal experience, when I look at an officer, I have to remind myself consciously that they are there for me. And even if they're not, I have to convince myself that that is the actual fact. I think as long as they look the way that they look, they're armed to the teeth. All right.
They're not there for you. No. I don't care how much it says on the side of that car, to protect and serve. They're not there for you. They're there for the law. You are not the law. The law is the law. You're an individual operating under it. That's why they're there. And no matter who you are, at least it should be. But unfortunately, in a lot of places, it's not. It should be just the law is the law, and there's no discrimination involved. Let's go ahead, keep on going.
In Canada, at least, because we don't have the ability to carry. So they're overarmed. They're intimidating. They flex. They let you know that they are there. They let you know that they are present. And I'm not saying that all of them do that intentionally to be harmful, but it is the case. There is a little bit of bully footing. I grew up in the Peel region, right? And they prided themselves on that.
That's because those are the individuals that we all know from the streets that possibly was always bullied, and they always went through some shit growing up. And now they're finally in a position where they can be the overseers of, quote unquote, rabbit ears, the power. Let's keep on rocking out.
our uniforms don't match what else is going on, we're willing to take that fine. We are going to stand and do what we ought to do to make you stay in line. And just that idea of policing, we know people like that. We have parents like that. We have family members like that. We have employers like that who are always just constantly watching you do what you're going to do, waiting for you to mess up, even antagonizing you to mess up. And I just don't know if we're ever going to be able to bridge that gap. I think it's not my opinion. I don't really want to vote this, but getting rid of the system to build a new one might be the only way that we actually ever get to where we want to be.
Calvin.
Yes.
So, oh no, go Reem. You got something to say there, Reem?
You know what? Go ahead.
Or
Go ahead,
Andrew?
go ahead.
Someone, go ahead and say something.
I don't know if you can really get rid of the system. The only reason I say that, and you know, in a perfect world, I think you could get rid of the system and start all over. But
Right.
when you say you're going to get rid of the system, what are you going to replace it with? And who's going to be in charge of replacing that system?
I have.
Whoa. That was a good question. What are you going to replace it with?
An idea.
Because
I have an
if
idea.
so-
And,
hold on,
Andrew,
hold on.
I have an idea. The
Okay.
people who should replace it is the House of Common. I think the 10 of us.
Can we get a little back?
Andrew Jones for police chief, Commissioner Jones.
I think
hot takes gonna get it.
In
Get
the
the world
comments, in
burned
the comments
down.
below, if you think the House of Commons should take over,
I'll
need that stress.
Or whatever the case, which will end up being worse
Would
than
it
the
though?
police being there. The military,
Would it? I don't know.
military
I
and the
think
National Guard.
I think
Way
if you-
worse.
If
It'll
you
be
take
way
away
worse.
the weapons from the police, right? You take the weapons that they don't need away. You take away the militarization of it. How many situations happen in the city of Toronto where the military would ever need to be called? Truthfully, in the neighborhoods that they feel like they need to be strapped up.
But what I'm saying is, if you totally dismantle the police until
Right.
you build back up, something is going to have to take its place.
Yeah, but Andrew, no change in society is overnight like that. Like we're not. This isn't a proposition of tomorrow the police are done. Hand in your badge and your gun. You're going to jail, right? Like,
Right. No,
it's-
and that's not that's not what I'm saying either. I'm just saying like if we really want to see what people are crying for and looking at a system for 200-300 years that has consistently been broken and failed, how many more years do you continue to make incremental changes the opposite way of where society wants it to go?
With who we have in charge right now, people we have in place to dismantle it and then bring it back to new, do you think that can actually take place? We would
no, it'll look
need
the
to-
same.
Yes, we can do that within our lifetime. No, see, the thing is that people keep thinking that whatever changes we're going to make is supposed to come to full fruition within the days in which we are alive. No. What you need to recognize is most of the things that we would go ahead and get going, it would have to actually, it would actually have to be something that's going to be long after you're here. You're not going to see that change. So can it happen? Yes. Will you be alive to see it? No. And a lot of people think that because I wasn't here around, I was in my 30s. Shoot, I started doing this liberation for my people when I was in my 20s. Now here it is, I'm in my 80s and I still, no, you don't realize that, you have to recognize you got the ball rolling. That don't mean that everything's going to come to fruition while you're still here. Let's go.
Destroy
as far as the
everything.
U.S. goes, there's no way possible. Maybe here in Canada.
Exactly. We would have
It'll
to
look the
destroy
same.
everything and start back from the beginning of government. We would have to destroy all of government to then get the right people in place to build everything back up.
I mean,
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't
I
know.
hear what you're saying, but again, I think it starts with government. The United States government over the last 20, 30 years, since 1997, sent $7 billion worth of military equipment to police forces around the United States. And that started under Clinton. So maybe we need to stop that program first and foremost.
That's right.
Because there's no need, like I've said before, there's no need for police forces to have tanks and stuff like that. Now, like I've said, I agree that police should have the necessary defense. They should have the latest technology to defend themselves, but they don't need offense, military style. They don't need machine guns. They don't need that stuff to be able to
in the interest of public safety, keep everything safe. I think that's where it starts. But I agree with you, Jonesy, because eventually it'll just end up being the same, regardless of what you replace it with.
Stefan, though, the problem and what you're saying there, and I hear what you're saying, but the issue is that's the exact argument that the police use, right? They're saying we want change, we want this in our society, but the thing is we also need the proper things we need the proper equipment to protect ourselves, to defend ourselves, and it's this exact rhetoric that perpetuates the system that needs to be torn down. And so this is the thing, is that like we're all saying. I think
all saying the same thing.
No, we're not all saying the same thing. I'm with Cal in terms of abolishing. I'm not actually on the same side. I'm not on any of these things in terms of, I think defunding is actually is progress toward abolishing of police. But the reality is that like there's legitimate plans in place in terms of what a society could look like with a police-less society. And
Absolutely, there is a view, and that view is things will be extremely chaotic. Like we already saw how stuff was going on during just COVID alone. Like, so we need to just go ahead and, I mean, a police-less society. What do you think is going to happen? It's just going to form itself back in the it's just going to reconstruct itself back into the form of neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch is then going to extend itself to a whole militia. And then from there, all it is that we got police all over again. So, I mean, you can't, because people are always going to do things of mischief. So we got to recognize that. Let's keep going.
Essentially, like this is put forth by Angela Davis. She's she's a legendary activist and thinker, and I'm sure you guys all know who she is. But anyway, Angela Davis she's big on policing as well as the prison system. And she's like, man, if we keep pushing for strategies that aim to punish and that aim to suppress people, then we never actually get to where we're going. And we actually have to fundamentally start to think about this differently. And that's the problem, is that the people who are actually controlling the rhetoric of this, you hear Donald Trump get up there, and I want to use him as an example because he's like, law and order. Those are Nixon's words, where Nixon is talking about the war on drugs and escalating violence in the streets, stop and frisk, and all these different.
All right. So even though, what we got to recognize is that law and order is something that we all want. Like, for example, everybody in their own home, just in your house alone, you have something called law and order. But we can't take and conflate where somebody used the term law and order and used it in a corrupt type fashion, as in now law and order is something that we should divert from. We should not divert from that. We should still have law and order. And no matter what you do, no matter how chaotic it gets, I promise you, somebody at some point, even if it's on some Mad Max type time, is going to present a form of law and order. Let's keep on going.
Different things. All of these things are pushing us toward the society that we don't want. I'm with you, Cal.
But that's what I'm saying. When it comes to abolishing, you can't abolish unless you start straight from the very top.
100%.
If you don't, but we're talking at a police level, and I'm saying we can't just do it at a police level. We can't just defund and abolish the police level. We have to abolish the whole government and start back from the bottom and build up.
I'm not so sure about that. I think that there are ways to do it.
What?
I agree with Jonesy. Here's the thing. I agree with both of you guys. I definitely agree that it has to be abolished. If you look at the system, there's nothing that we're going to be able to do to correct it. Again, you said from 1704, I believe, the time that you said. That's a lot of time. So to correct all that's been going on for that many years, that's not going to, doesn't matter what we do, we're never going to be able to correct. It's never going to be able to correct itself. But on the flip side, to correct it, you're going to have to abolish the entire system, in my humble opinion, because you got to understand, like, if you look at, even we were talking about Mark Saunders the other day, who hired him? The mayor hires him. Who hires the mayor? Like, the whole system.
And he's subject to the police service board.
And he's subject to the police service board. So you literally have to You have to tear down the whole thing in order to bring about that change. Does change need to happen? Absolutely. But is change the only way that change is going to happen? Probably going to come.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is, how do we as Black people see that universal change? How do we actually view the change? That's what I want to know. How do we see it? What does it look like? And do the majority of us say yay or nay? Let's go ahead and keep rocking out.
From abolishing, like real change, it's probably the case, but then we got to abolish the entire system. Now we're talking a whole.
No, okay. All right, I'm gonna. I know Adam, you got. I know Adam, you got to take. I know you do.
Come on,
I
Chase.
can.
Louder.
I can. I've allowed you guys. I've allowed you guys.
You've been very benevolent, moderator.
I have been benevolent. Host.
We're sorry. Yes, sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry.
Before we transition into, so you guys have already started talking a little bit about how the change has begun. I'm going to turn it over to Jason, and then we'll continue on the conversation. But I need to break up the trifecta of a couple of you guys. My man, Steeler City, Jason, fun guy. Take it away. Share your thoughts, my brother.
Yeah, I mean, like, so there has to be something, and it has to stop at the top. But if you think about the whole, for instance, the whole U.S., just that whole system, that whole executive branch, where you're talking about the president, and for instance, jails are privatized in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
You know, and for example, I guess, so I mean, maybe you guys at some point can educate me on how systems are here in Canada, but so they're privatized, so people are making money. It's a whole system. Now, obviously, America is the richest country in the world, but how come America has such a hard issue with drugs? Well, yeah, China, but no. US is still there, but China's coming close. But anyway, to make a long story short.
It's very American of you.
No, it's true.
Let's check it out right now.
But I mean, but there's
fact check.
all these systems, guys. There's all these systems, all these issues that are going on. And you're right. I mean, there has to be something from the top. But the problem is, in reality, is do some people want to really change? I mean, I'm going to just say spiritual wickedness.
That is a question I've actually asked myself when observing and looking at what goes on nowadays. I'll tell you this. Yeah, when it comes to do we want to change? Do we actually want to look inside ourselves first? Can't get that change until we start looking inside ourselves and stop trying to find a reason to point fingers and blame somebody else. So that's where the change starts. We all know, as cliche as it may sound, it's extremely true. Change starts within yourself. You change your mind, you change your life. Let's keep going.
In high places. Now, obviously, I'm not saying everybody who's in these high positions, I'm not saying they're all bad. There's some great people, but I mean, the change has to start at the top. People have to be sincere about it. Even when Obama was in office, everyone's happy, was excited, but there's only so much that he even could do. So, I mean, everybody has to play their part. And it starts with us, with other people. If everybody plays their part, at least we can help and save some people.
Young Buck O'Shea, what you got? How we change this thing?
Yeah, I think and like this is where it sucks to say, but man, you gotta tear that thing down. You gotta tear that thing down. And this is where it sucks to say, because I have some great friends who are police officers. I have family members who are police officers, but the reality is that this is not a position where you can make a mistake, where you are killing someone's life and then expect nothing to happen. Like, the reality is, yes, there are great police officers. We can't emphasize that enough, but they're working for a system, whether they know it or not, that is not set up for a certain group of people to prosper.
Hold on. Whoa. Wait a minute. What do you, okay, so what? All right, so it's not for a certain group of people to prosper, as in us. Okay, all right. So message received. All right. You know, my whole my whole thing is that again, like if you're actually not somebody who has truly been through what other people have been through, how do you then turn around and speak in that manner? Just that manner alone. If you haven't been through it, how does that work? Let's go ahead, keep on watching.
And the reality is, if they, man, this is gonna sound bad, but they gotta get their heads out of their butts and realize that that's a reality that they're working for. And it sucks. Yeah, you might lose your job. Yeah, you might have to take a seat, but for the greater good, prove to me that you deserve that job is basically where this change happens. You gotta strip everything down, and you gotta, and it's not,
The requirements need to go up. It's not about prove to me you qualify for that job, because most people get that job and all you need is a high school diploma and a certain credit score, if I'm not mistaken. That's about it.
gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna happen in a year, but you gotta start you gotta start at the high places. You gotta start, okay, cool, let's take this person out, because when the high officer in the RCMP comes out and says, no, there's no systematic racism in our establishment, that shows me that you are blind to that. You don't deserve that position because you're not objectively looking at your own system, your own group of brothers, your own gang, and saying, man, where are we falling short? That shows me that you're not about change. And Adam, you're gonna like this. In a Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode, okay?
Hollywood.
There's
It's not even a primetime show.
there's a part and there's an episode where Captain Raymond Holt is looking at being the commish, and you look at the other guys and you look at their pitch, and their pitch is, all right, let's just continue to go forward. Let's remain the course. And that's all it's been, even though you have people that are out here shouting, they're screaming for help. They're pleading, they're begging for this reform, for this new structure. And everybody that they place in, everyone that they specifically pluck into those positions is all about maintaining the course, and it's not about challenging their own selves. And this is, I think, the biggest change that can happen is that mentality of first of all, we actually need real accountability for police officers. We need truthful, honest accountability, and we need themselves to be accountable for themselves. Like, there's nothing wrong with you going, man, we're not doing something right. My officers who sign an oath, who plead an oath, are not doing anything right, and challenging them and getting them the help that they need, the help that they honestly deserve, and the teaching, the equipment to properly assess and handle these situations. And that's not being given to them.
Reem's next. My bad. My bad.
All right. No, it's all good. It's all good. Here's the thing. In terms of change, ideally, I think it would have to be abolished, but then that's going to take a lot, because it's going to need to, as we've said earlier, we're going to have to abolish the whole system. But if we're going to try and take incremental change, and I don't know if that will actually bring about full change, some of the things that are key that need to happen, in my opinion, are, one, if you were to look.
My bad, y'all. I was on mute. So this is my main thing. If we are going to abolish, what's going to be the replacement in the meantime while rebuilding? I never hear anybody speak about what's going to take place during that middle moment. You see, that dash in the middle, from the date in which we abolished this into the date in which we built that. What's going to be that carries us over while we do all of that? What's the middle plan? And that's what I mean by, like, keep skipping steps. That's something we need to stop doing. Let's go ahead and keep on rocking it.
look in terms of who are those that are employed within the policing systems, specifically in the predominant country, the bigger cities, a lot of the individuals that are actually policing in, say, for instance, Toronto, are people that are never even grown up in any type of multicultural context. And so a lot of the times when they're coming to work into cities like Toronto, this is the first time that they're ever being exposed to Black people. They need to start hiring individuals or doing something to hire individuals that are actually from the context at which they are policing. Because when it's not, then it's easier for...
Agree. I absolutely agree. And I spoke about that earlier, Brother Kareem. Okay. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Let's go.
Them to then look at some of the stereotypes that have been, subconsciously ingrained in them and actually allow that to come out in the way that they police. I think a lot of the reasons why these individuals act out in the way they are is ignorance. And it's not, I don't actually believe a lot of it is done initially in a malicious way. Just the ignorance of what they know of Black people or people from certain areas or people who look a certain way. They act out in a certain way. So that needs to change. That's one thing. The other thing that needs to change is the way that they are taught in how to deal with certain situations. When they go into a situation, right now they go into situations saying, it's like, we're at war. It's not always a situation where they need to be at war. They should be going to a situation trying to figure out how do they properly de-escalate the situation in a way that is not in a militant way. A lot of police individuals or police officers, when they go into situations, they make it worse by the way in which they handle the situation. So proper training or reform in the training that is at hand right now needs to be changed. I think that a lot of the things that they do right now comes from the way that they handle situations back.
Yes, but I'm still in the mind state, in a mode of how do we actually get people not to, I like our people in particular, to is there any way for us to mend the police to citizen disconnect? Is that possible? It's just a question. I'm not saying what needs to be or not be. I'm just asking the question. Is that something that we can do? Can that happen?
In the 1700s, we're not in the 1700s anymore. It's 2020. And so that the way culture is now is totally different from how it was back then. And so they need to change with the times and understand and how to deal with people. The last thing I would say in terms of the funding or that concept of the funding, I am a believer of the funding if this is all we have in terms of an option, and where the funding needs to go to is some of the services that help to tackle the root causes of a lot of the issues that police officers end up having to deal with. And so mental illness is a huge thing. And so a lot more funding needs to go into addressing that. Education system and the lack of education, and because individuals have that lack of education, they
No, not the education system. To be street hip, street education. Honestly, believe it or not, I think we need to stop discarding and making it seem like to be streetwise and street savvy is not something that's very important for our people. You do need to know how to move in these streets. To be streetwise and street savvy is something that is extremely important. All right. It's just as important as education itself. Let's go. Or should I say school education? Let's get it.
They just get to a place where it just seems as though they have no options in life. So they have to do certain things. And ultimately, then who comes in to capture them? It's the police. They wouldn't have to do that as much if they got to the root cause of what they are policing. And so education system, mental illness, counseling, and things to help families that are coming from low income situations. If funding went into that, at least it would help to move the needle in a better direction. But I don't think it would totally eradicate all the issues that we have with the police, but those are some incremental changes that we can make that I think would go far.
And I would add to
light begins to hurt their eyes, and they're constantly being pulled, or at least tempted to go back into the cave. And I think that the way in which we're talking here kind of reminds me in terms of we right now we do not consider abolishing the police because in a sense the light hurts our eyes. Like, we've been living in the cave, we've been brought up and bred in the cave for so long that we don't understand a society that does not have fundamentally police as first responders. And the thing is this is there you talk about accountability for police officers. There's a myriad of things that are wrong with policing in Canada and America, but one of the fundamental things, you know, we've spoken about here earlier in this thing that there's no accountability from the top. There is no national code as to how police departments operate. So there's nothing that a police department, if you were to start a county or sever county lines and say, okay, now this is a new district and you have now a police unit that is going to be there. There is nothing from the national level that says that policing should be done this. All you have are the laws that are made in which you have to interpret those laws. And what I'm saying in this is that when it's left to the police to interpret the laws of society, we see this with scripture. When it's left to man to interpret scripture, everybody gets it a different way, right?
Yes, everybody gets it a different way, but what is written is what is written. What is law is what is law. And you know, the number one thing that is said, at least here in America, is that ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Let's keep on rocking out.
Kind of sees it a different way and has their own interpretation. And what I'm saying in this is that the morality code of police officers in our day, because of their training, even good cops, even cops who have grown up in the neighborhood, even people who have been, you know what I mean, who understand the streets from which they're with, the morality of their training has been so altered and shifted by the interpretation of what law and order means in their society.
Man, when you a police officer, it's just, I do believe it's just like, you know, in the military and everything else, it's just certain things you cannot. It's a whole different mode in which you have to move at that point, right? Let's go ahead, keep rocking out.
That when they reach the streets, it's an us and them. The fact is that they see mental illness, they see criminals as you know, they use this example of the sheepdog versus the wolves, and they're there to protect the sheep. But the problem is that they don't understand that the people who are criminals are also sheep. And that the goal for them is restoration, not incarceration. The goal for them is reconciliation back into society, not to shun them and to ostracize them. And this is, you know, there's so many things that have to be torn down. But if we're talking about, you know, practical things, right? Practical things that we can do, you know, qualified immunity is a huge issue. Because you don a badge and a gun and you have 1,000 hours of training. Now you suddenly have immunity to the laws that you break when you're supposed to be enforcing those laws. Police officers should be personally liable for the decisions they make in the line of duty. We are all accountable in the roles that we play in society to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, you know what I mean, to the governing powers that be. We're all accountable. Why are police officers not accountable for that? Just because they're there to enforce the law? Civil asset forfeiture. Police departments make millions of dollars on seizure of property, of personal property. They can steal your stuff without charging you for a crime, and it makes the police departments very rich. Breaking the power of police unions. The police union is not a labor union. Okay, we have to understand this. Unions were formed because there were oppressed workers. There were workers who were.
We know all of this stuff. Let's go ahead, fast forward. Let's see what we got.
I would say in that regard, we have to look at it a little bit in terms of the UK. Now, not everything they do over there is correct, but at the same time, they don't have guns. They have people to go there and to solve problems, and they rely on CCTV. I know it's a whole other conversation in terms of surveillance to basically say, listen, if you do a crime, we will find you. There's no where you're going to go that we can't find. But in the sense that they now train their police officers different, and I think one stat I read was saying that they are trained in terms 3 times more hours for the same position, the equivalent positions that are happening inside of the United States. So we have to look at a sense of, okay, how do we get people to now behave differently? I think it has to start with us. we have to behave differently in what we expect from our leadership, and they in turn need to reflect that, or you're going to be voted out. So if you're looking for people to behave different in communities, we need to invest more in that. And I think that's what was the beginning of this conversation, is defunding the police, rebuilding the police. We need to remove all of these incentives to have police officers be on, I don't want to say high horses, but on this pedestal where it says, no, we do need you. We do need order, but it needs to be systematic, and it needs to be in a different way than just brute force. It cannot be brute force, because eventually people will retaliate, and the way that they will retaliate will be with brute force. So the change needs to be systematic. We need to look how we organize and who is actually benefiting from these institutions, because that's a huge aspect of it, and that'll tell you a lot about the system. And we need to look at very simple things that we can do right now to fix it. But those things are both pie in the sky. I do agree with Calvin when he says you got to blow it up, and I don't think that will ever happen.
Okay, now. I mean, okay, so what's your thoughts on this? What exactly is your view? How exactly do you see this? Should we go ahead and have reform? Should we just tear the whole thing down? Should we just say F the police forever and a day? What is your view on how we should go about it? And with that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. Much respect to the family. Thank you all for tuning in. Respect.
Welcome to the lighthouse. Storm all around. I'm standing right now, sent from the cloud. They talking mine now, but I'm just fighting for my blood and my life. Yeah. Sent from the heaven, king on seven, trials on trials, still count blessings. Wait on the revelating, heart in heaven. I stay patient, I'm beyond the angels. I am mad, I bleed, I'm tangled. Soul on my back, axe on the strap. Go with the weight of the word in my lap. Touching my kin, we doubling back. Pray with my palm, but I'm ready for that. Welcome to the lighthouse. Storm all around. I'm standing right now, sand from the cloud. They talking mine now, but I'm just fighting for my blood and my life vow. Yeah. Sent from the heavens, king on sevens, trials on trials, still count blessings. Waiting on the revelating, heart been heavy. I stay patient, I am beyond the angels. I am man, I bleed, untangled. Sword on my back, axe on the strap. Walk with the weight of the world in my lap. Touching my kin, we doubling back. Play with my palm, but I'm ready for that. Ready for that. Lone Star County gives us greatness. Stand tall. County on the way. I just want my acres. You can keep your brand. Build this from the ground. For my whole family. PG is greatness. The envy ain't faking. If I said I'm the one, no, I wasn't mistaken. Lone Star kind of kings, yeah, we blazing. Welcome to the lighthouse. This foundation. Still waiting on revelation. Titting them rotation. Hurt on my chest, but I'm chasing. Turn my scars into statements. I don't need your stage or cameras. I need these papers, land and hammers. Still on my spine, still in my hands. Guarding my bloodline. Holding this land, they can test, they can try, they can hate me. I've been forged in fire, that's what made me. PG rays, Lone Star in my veins. DMV on the map, shading lines. Lone Star County King, that's greatness. Stand tall. County on the way. I just want my acres. You can keep your Grammys. Build this from the ground. For my whole family. PG is greatness. The envy ain't faking. If I said I'm the one, no, I wasn't mistaken. to the lighthouse.
This foundation. Lone Star Connikins. Lone Star Connikins, that's greatest. Lone Star Connikins, that's greatest.
Behold the pale white horse and in the dark night rider. Elevation, meditation, angels floating right beside you. The Messiah passed away at 33 like the degrees in Freemanson alchemist. Cooking chemistry, I rose from the ocean sparkling. Water magic potion. Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Do you hear what I hear? Demons lurking but it's no fear protection. Vision clear, the birth of the baby with powers in his tears. And if you vultures really want me, then I'm still right here. As I land in spacecraft, water walking warlock, jet propelled aircraft, Operation Star Fox. I remember sitting with my thoughts with the CD while we hotbox, smoking on some crunchy 37, call it pop rocks. We still here and won't stop until I'm at the top or until my body rocks. I'm ghost.
I'm a fallen angel from sky. Up above, I'm that man that think is a thug. I'm your drug and your plug. Wings tucked, I seen pain, seen blessings, seen luck. Ran over by train, that's about 8 trucks. Smitty really gritty, but never I'm no slut. To the money and fame, you can keep your chain. We free men over here. And in case you didn't know, my favorite color is here. Yes, I'm here, not fresh to death. No stress, no worries. All burdens, I done buried, closed coffin. I'm the beauty of the beast. And a man I found often. I'm the cure to infection. My reflection is broken down in sections. Retired chef outside, still cooking. I be rocking with best. Thank you, good looking. Y'all bammers be lunching on mothers. If you not from my section, then you cool, but not a brother. Lone Star, the astronaut from above. You looking for a fix? I'm your brand new blood. Shotgun slug, flood of the love spreads. Truck by train, made it out by thread. Should've be dead, but rose from darkness and walking with an oath. I'm not the goat, I'm shepherd. Blending into the world tree, hiding a leaper. Mr. 7, I'm ghost in flesh.
My energy is mistaken for frustration, but really I'm a guy who sat back with observation and patience. Some of our thinking is outdated. Thank you for stopping by to say hi. Thank you, come again. And while you're gone, tell a friend, Smitty, yes, we heard you. Now go and smash the like button like a burger. Information I recruited at Douglas. My mic is muted, Mr. 7, I'm lost. energy is mistaken for frustration, but really I'm a guy who sat back with observation and patience. Some of our thinking is outdated. Thank you for stopping by to say hi. Thank you, come imagine. And while you gone, tell a friend to tell a friend, Smitty. Yes, we heard you, now go and smash the like button like a burger. Information I recruited, I got grace, my mic is muted. Mr. 7, I'm ghost.